Chapter 5. Echoes of Winhill. Winhill unfolds beneath a gentle dawn, a quaint village of cobblestone paths threading through wooden cottages. Their thatched roofs nestled amid rolling hills where wildflowers sway in soft breezes. A serene haven on the western continent's edge. Far from Galbardia's martial sprawl, Laguna Loire strides its streets, his Galbadian uniform shed for a simple white shirt and brown dusty trousers finished with his signature blue jacket. His long dark brown hair tousled as he tends to Elone, a young girl with wide eyes and a ribboned braid, who trails him with innocent trust throughout their home, her voice bright as she names him uncle, their bond a quiet comfort in the village's stillness. At the outskirts, Galbadian soldiers in their military blue linger, their hands gripping rifles as they murmur continued worries of an Estar attack, ruled by a sorceress whose shadow looms large. Though they deem it unlikely, years of quiet have dulled since the last raid on Winhill. But whispers still drift the streets of Estar, desire to kidnap little girls, hinting at a search for a sorceress successor to Adele. In the local town tavern stand the owner, Rain, a serene figure with dark hair framing a gentle face, tends to the patrons. Her presence a quiet anchor during times of duress, a time of war. Although her demeanour is kind, it is matched by her strength, hidden deep, displayed when months ago she pulled an injured Laguna washed up on the shores of the small village, and out of sheer obligation and her generous nature, took him in and nursed him back to health with the help of young Elone. This maternal nature was not new to either Rain or Elone, who lost her parents when the Sorceress War broke out during one of the earliest raids on Winhill. Elone's parents, heroically refusing to hand over their young daughter, enlisted the help of Rain in hiding her. Although successful, it was tendered with the ultimate price of their lives for the rebellion. Elone quickly accepted Rain into her mother's shoes, and years later Laguna would form the fatherly role as their makeshift family miraculously grew stronger and deeper bonds, a small bright light in a time where families endured the opposite effect. With Laguna and Elone visiting Rain during her afternoon shift, tending to the local patrons, a tall, dark, lean figure with long braided hair weaved into beads and sleek red bodysuit with bronze bangle and armour chest pieces walks in, steeping into the cosy nook of weathered wood and flickering lanterns, his lithe frame shadowing through the door as he reveals himself to be at Laguna's surprise and delight Kiros. Laguna's closet friend, who aided him with a voice of reason whilst they went AWOL from the war some time ago now. Laguna, in a glee of shock, reunites with his old comrade. Introductions to his quaint life turn them reminiscing about their days as Galbadian soldiers from battles, nights in Delling City, and to their great escape from Sentra's cliffs. Plunging into the ocean with Ward, their trio each paying a price for their escape, but lucky to blend into society afterward, leaving the war in the wake. Ward taking a janitor position in the D District prison after losing his voice due to the fall, both speculating on rumours now that Julia, Laguna's lost love, wed a general named Caraway, her melody a distant echo. A shadow Laguna and Kiros dismiss as they patrol Winhill, felling local monsters, gnarled beasts born of war's neglect. With Laguna's accurate rifle shots and Kiros's sharp guitar cuts, protecting a town stripped of men by the war. The security patrols a task and role Laguna assumed to repay his debt to Rain and Elone, along with the town who he owed his future to. Overhearing Rain and Alone by the hearth, Laguna catches their tender exchange, Rain's dark hair framing a wistful gaze as she admits wanting him to stay and falling for him romantically more every day, Alone echoing the wish, yet both sensing his restless urge to travel and write his dream as a journalist, prompting Kiros to offer a lead, his tone steady as he mentions a friend's job opening at Timber Maniacs, desperately in need of any stories that weren't war-informing others of each town's resilience. A spark of promise as Winhill's peace holds them for now. Chapter 6. Chains of Defiance. Within the shadowed depths of D-District Prison, a fortress of steel and stone rises from Galbardia's Dingo Desert. Its 3 towering spires, immense drills piercing the sands, linked by catwalks high above. A unique high-tech bastion, designed to entomb political foes beneath an unforgiving desert sun. Zell awakens in a general population cell on the 7th floor, its metal walls cold and unyielding. An open circular chamber, where catwalks spiral downward through the spire's heart, cranes poised to shift box-like cells up and down the spiralling tower through the gloom. Quistis, Selphie, and Renoa stir beside him, all waiting for Zell to awake and reconvene on the strange, dreamlike sequence of Laguna in Winhill. Zell's squints as he surveys the cell, informing the party his vision was different. He had dreams of Ward and his life after fleeing the war, wishing for the reunion of Laguna, Kiros, and himself to combat his dull and meaningless life as the janitor in a prison. Quistis's sharp mind probing their predicaments, the party share details and piece together as much as they can whilst the prison hums with distant machinery, Zell coming to the realization that his dream of Ward's prison and the current cage are one and the same. Footsteps can be heard approaching, echoing the labyrinths, floors of solitary cells and general wards, a testament to Galbadia's iron rule over dissenters, its controls preparing to sink the entire structure into the desert's embrace, locking down its dissidents. Their thoughts and confinement fractures as a guard, his blue uniform stark against the steel, enters whilst taunting a Moomba, a small feline creature with crimson fur that act as the silent janitors to the prison. The guard sends it clattering to the floor, prompting Zell to intervene, his fists driving the guard back with a surge of defiance. A choice that earns the Moomba's quiet loyalty, but rewards him a violent reply, form the guards. They demand a prisoner by the name of Renoa. The party's loyalty is unbreakable, even whilst Zell unable to defend himself against the unethical strikes of the guards. Renoa's guilt overwhelms, quickly revealing she is who they seek. The guards reluctantly pull off Zell as Selphie, Quisitis, and the Moomba come to his aid. Renoa, as she is escorted out, looks back, trying to hide her fear with a brave face, ensure she will be fine. Her voice drowned out by the screams and cries in the distance echoing through the levels. With Renoa gone, the party quickly contemplate the whereabouts of Squall and Irvine, along with their safety and their own escape. Zell, assuming leadership, recalling his dreams of Ward, and understanding of the prison through them, creates a ruse with the Moomba. The guard arriving to the parties, distress cries in their cell, is quickly disarmed by Zell's prowess. The group seizes their chance when he slips through the doors, their steps swift along the spiralling catwalks, evading patrols to reclaim their weapons. A whip, nunchaku, pinwheel, along with the gunblade, stacked carelessly on the 8th floor in a containment unit. They begin their stealthy ascent up the prison floors, clearing guards from their path, the prison's anti-magic field stifling their spells, a burden of heavy reliance on their seed combat training. Meanwhile, a solitary cell box suspended in the spire's upper reaches, its walls humming as a crane hoists it from the rack where it's bound, hoisting it further up the spiral tower. The signage reading 13th floor interrogation. Squall stirs, with his cell is locked in place, after nausea of the crane's movements, his shoulder aching and head dazed from Medea's icy lance, the air thick with the sting of screams and fear throughout the floor. Brief flashes of Cypher loom in his mind, leering over him with the parade in the background. Squall's fire burning inside with the thought Cypher's involvement in the events in Delling. Interrupted as his cell door opens to see Cypher, standing tall, his scarred brow over a smug smirk, his sleek vest taut as he taunts Squall, unaware if this is another vision until Cypher begins to push him around the cell, only exaggerating his body's vertigo and confusion. Upon Cypher's command, Squalls is taken by Moombas and strung up in one of the interrogation room's many devices. Cypher probes Squall's silence about Seed's purpose and why they oppose the sorceress. His eyes glazed as torture racks hum with electric currents through Squall. His defiance unbroken and met with confusion with Cypher's line of questions, given he himself was a seed in training. Threats of similar practices toward the others for the correct information are eventually drowned out by Cypher's indulgence in his victory over Squall. Flaunting his stance as the sorceress's knight, pitting himself the hero against the evil seed mercenary. Squall truly seeing in this moment how far gone his former classmate was. With the high voltage current running through him in unbearable intervals, Squall overhears confirmation of orders to Cypher as he departs room. That Balaam garden is to be destroyed, charged with opposing the sorceress, no thanks to the party's recent attempt on a head in Delling, until pain drags him under. During his blackout flashes of pain, sharp and acute stinging. In Squall's mind his head filled with voices calling for Laguna that felt all too real, only to awaken from the prison's sirens ringing loud. Escapees roaming and security on full alert are blasted as instructions over the monitors. The prison walls shaking as the drilling had begun for lockdown protocol. A fight can be heard outside the interrogation room. Upon the scuffle ending, the door opens as the party burst in, along with Moombas loyal to Zell's aid, and release Squall, their paws prying the restraints free. His gunblade returned, the time-sensitive situation quickly assessed, and pleasantries skipped their focus shifts to their escape before the lockdown is completed. The party navigates the catwalks upwards, the Moombas indicating an exit for them, along with Zell revisionist dreams. The prison's drills groaning as sand dusts the air, the emergency protocol continues, and the slow drill into the deep earth has already secured the lower floors. The party find themselves pinned down and overwhelmed by the guards ceding the high ground to them. A last stand by the prison, as the exit is so close they almost feel the desert warmth. Squall's scarred brow set with a quiet resolve, at a loss for their next move. A flash of quick and accurate shots rain down from behind on the guards, felling them in almost, an instant revealing Renoa and Irvine. Renoa's warmth breaking through the chaos as she waves the party onwards. Her and Squall locking eyes in an instant. Using to her advantage The opportunity of her father's release request ordered to Irvine earlier she risked further danger, and even convinced Irvine to aid in the breakout, directly opposing his mission, a choice that came easy given the circumstances for Irvine. Together, they storm the control room, its panels flashing as Zell halts the sinking spires, the party splitting. Squall, Renoa, and Quistis racing upward to ensure exit openings. Irvine, Zell, and Selfie heading to the garage to secure armoured vehicles from the bay. Steel beasts roaring to life as they pass through the gates, picking up the others as the desert stretching wide before them. A fleeting escape carved from Adea's grasp, their unity a fragile light against the sorceress's deepening shadow. The armoured vehicles halt in Galbadia's dingo deserts, sand swirling as party regroup under a fading sky, the prison a distant blur behind them. Irvine relays grim news intercepted from General Caraway after he escaped the parade's chaos, confirming Squall's hearings that Adea is using the Galbadia military artillery to target Balam Garden and Trabia Garden, Selfie's original home and garden, before her transfer to Balaam. These strikes intend to crush Seed's roots. At that moment, a loud roar and fiery trails arc in the distance toward Trabia. Galabadia's highly destructive military warheads launch, disappearing into the blue sky. Selfie cannot hide the horror and pain she feels as she is too late igniting urgency. Squall summons the courage to lead despite his insecurities and sets the plan, splitting the group. Squall, Zell, and Renoa racing to bolster Balaam, while Selfie, Irvine, and Quistis veer to the missile base to thwart the next launch. Their resolve, a fleeting shield against the sorceress's wrath. And the peril of another sorceress's war has rung into this new age. Chapter 7. Threads of Valour. Squall, Zell, and Renoa peel away from the desert's edge, their armoured vehicle grinding to a halt near the Dingo Desert train station. A ramshackle outpost on weathered platforms and sagging roofs, its tracks threading through dunes littered with sun-bleached crates, now teeming with Galbadian guards in blue tunics, their rifles sweeping the sands after word of the prison breakout ripples through their ranks. Squall's gunblade gleams faintly as he leads a silent infiltration, his scarred brow set as they weave through shadows cast by rusted water towers, opting for a stealth approach given his recent torture at the hands of Cypher. Zell's following closely, Renoa covering the rear as Angelo pads beside her, their steps deftly avoiding the guards' patrols until they reach a small freight train, its hull a patchwork of rust and faded paint, long dormant for goods transport, miraculously its engine coughing to life. As they slip aboard, whilst the engine reaches its idle, Zell configures the tracks ahead for its launch. The guards' shouts pierce the empty desert air, their boots pounding the sand in a futile chase, the train's lurching roar outpacing their pursuit. Ricochets pinging of the carriage of last-chance gunfire form the guards, the party ducking for cover with a sense of hopes. In their eyes they know they have made their escape. The dunes blurring past as they speed toward Balam Garden's coastal embrace, hoping they can make it on time. Meanwhile, Selfie, Irvine, and Quistis approach the Galbadian missile base, a low-slung fortress of reinforced steel hunched amid the desert's barren sweep, its silos bristling with warheads, exhaust vents hissing beneath a sky untinged by clouds clear as day. The vehicle they commandeered for their escape being a standard-issue Galbadian military transport. With luck on their side, they find spare uniforms issued, along with access key cards. Posing as a maintenance crew in, and the Galbadian standard-issue helmets providing exceptional cover of their faces, their identities concealed as best they can be. Unsuspecting, they stride past guards buzzing with excitement for upcoming live launches, following the previous launch on Trabia Garden, the army's first in years. Selphie's agility masking their intent as she gleans intel on the next salvo heading deep beneath the desert's ground in the base's sub-basements. Irvine's calm demeanour and Quistis's maturity helps the party keep their poise walking the halls, quoting routine checks before the next launch to anyone who questions their proximity. Deception eventually slips them into the control room. Its panels aglow with blinking lights, various input devices, where Selphie's hands dance over consoles. The first batch ready for imminent launch, she cedes to strike, zone coordinate readjustment, aiming for targeting errors and minimal damage on the initial strike, given the pre-loading stage of the second batch. She opts for power failures to fully nullify them altogether. Each sabotage sparking murmurs of suspicion among cadets as alerts flash across screens through the launch sector, their eyes narrowing as the trio's ruse frays. At the third panel, before Selphie can make any adjustments, the head commander bursts in. A towering figure with a stern jaw draped Galbadian blood red to signify his rank. His suspicion of the new maintenance crew proving correct and exposes them in the act. Quistis's lashing whip and Irvine's precise shots a fleeting reprieve, as without hesitation nullify him quickly and hand him defeat. Selphie sets the final batch and base to self-destruct. Alarms blaring through the steel halls and cadets fleeing. The trio rush to their escape with them. With their cover blown, they are less cautious in their navigation, dispelling cadets quickly as they make their exit. Selphie informing them of the 10-minute timer on the base's self-destruct. Upon reaching the surface, a clear view of their vehicle to escape a loud, thunderous clank of metal and hydraulics, along with desert sand sprays their vision. As sand and dust clears, they are realised their fate, cornered by the BGH 251F2, nicknamed Ironclad, a hulking tank of riveted armour, its cannon thundering. They battle its relentless barrage. Selphie strikes, weaving its small turrets. Quistis assisting cutting down radar targeting antennas, whilst Irvine's bullets piercing up the barrel of his beam cannon until it collapses in a shower of sparks. The remaining guards fell beside it, yet the wreckage blocks their exit, trapping them within. Questioning Squall's choice, they settle on his trust in their resolve, despair flaring as the first batch of missiles launches skyward too, the party helplessness written on their faces as they hope their target manipulation is enough to prevent serious damage. The realization sets in as they accept their fate, knowing the self-destruct countdown closes to its final seconds. Their desperate sprint for cover ending as the base erupts in a fiery blast, debris raining, flames breaching the coarse ground with shrapnel and debris of all sizes crashing in every direction. Across the high-speed rail network, Squall, Zell and Rinoa arrive at Balam approaching the garden. As the esplanade looms, a sprawling plaza of polished stone and swaying palms, awash in chaos, seed cadets in navy darting amidst shouts, their faces taut with shock from whispers of Trabia's ruin and Idea's looming retaliation, the air thick with the clatter of boots and the hum of tension. garden faculty, cloaked in dark robes, and unique signature golden wide-brimmed headwear that hide their identity bar their path. Their voices sharp, as before entry, they demand allegiance to the garden master, Norg, over Headmaster Sid. Squall's confusion deepening as he offers an empty pledge, his resolve masking doubt to gain access. Rinoa's hand brushing his arm in quiet support. Zell's just as confused beside them. Who was this Master Norg? And where does Sid fall in this hierarchy if he is not the commander and chief of the garden as headmaster? Questions to be answered at a later time, as the pressing concerns of imminent attack at the forefront as the trio race to find Headmaster Sid. Within the lobby, a circular hall of glass and steel, Fujin and Raijin emerge through the fray. Fujin's teal coat flaring with her brisk stride, Raijin's bulky vest straining as he grips his staff, revealing a schism splitting the garden. Faculty rounding up seeds loyal to Sid, skirmishes erupting as cadets clash with robed enforcers wielding rods. No one answering Squall's urgent queries about Sid's whereabouts or why seeds are targets. The missile threat presseth heavier with each passing moment. Enlisting Fujin and Raijin's aid, Squall's group scatters to quell the chaos. Zell's fists halting a rogue cadet mid-strike, Rinoa calming a panicked junior with gentle words. The training facility's gates flung open by faculty, unleashing T-Rexors and Grats to roam free, their roars mingling with the din of fracturing loyalties. Shu, a lithe figure with dark hair, intercepts them near the directory, her navy uniform crisp as she leads the fight back against the faculty, revealing Sid's ruse. Hiding in his office under lock and key, a clever feint with her aid, granting Squall access as time dwindles, racing through corridors alive with clawing monsters and clashing factions, they reach Sid's office, a sanctuary of oaken books, finding the headmaster resolute, his bespectacled gaze weary yet firm, refusing to abandon the garden despite their pleas to rebuild elsewhere. His voice steady as he hands Squall a clearance card for the MD level, an ancient shelter beneath, with an unknown emergency protocol for such times, devised as missiles arc closer. His trust in Squall a quiet call to lead amidst the storm. With Sid's clearance card clutched in hand, Squall leads Zell and Rinoa downward through Balam Garden's labyrinthine underbelly to the MD level, a subterranean expanse of rusted pipes and weathered steel lurking beneath the institution's polished exterior, its air thick with the tang of oil and the faint hum of dormant machinery. Shadows cast by flickering bulbs, dancing across walls etched with near centuries of neglect. The trio navigates a maze of narrow catwalks and spiralling stairwells. The party continued to navigate as Zell's fists tapping restlessly against dust-covered railings, and Rinoa's warmth a quiet buoy amidst the mechanical gloom, her boots clicking against the metal floor. They descend past clanking pistons and groaning beams to the central structure, revealing a control chamber. A cavernous hollow where a dust-clad console sits enshrined amid sprawling gears and tangled cables, its surface pitted with age, yet its lights flare to life under Squall's steady touch as he inputs the simple boot-up instructions found nearby the console to initiate the emergency protocol. Zell's eager, reassuring nod, Rinoa's hand hovering near in silent support. The ground shudders violently as massive mechanical pillars, colossal struts of reinforced alloy, erupt from the earth below, their grinding ascent piercing upward through the garden's foundation, a deafening chorus of straining metal echoing as 5 enormous engine turbines roar to life, their size and scale matching whole areas of the garden that sits above each one, their vibrations pulsing through the steel floor, dust cascading in clouds as an access shaft yawns open nearby, its rusted panels parting to reveal a cylindrical elevator bathed in a faint amber glow, leading to Sid's former office, now repurposed as the cockpit of a hovering fortress, with a hidden level dropping out of the ceiling, exposing the huge skylight to be the viewing deck in front of the cockpit's control panel. As they step within, ascending swiftly, the elevator hums as it carries Squall, Zell, and Renoa to the control tower. Headmaster Sid, in shock at the transformation, encourages Squall to take the newly revealed controls. Squall, without hesitation, launches the garden throttle. The fields the garden once sat above, now swelling a storm of blades of grass fluttering as garden lurches upwards, its ancient framework groaning under the strain, but maintaining its minimal aviation needed, the first wave of missiles streaking across the sky, some veering wildly off course, a testament to Selphie's sabotage at the base, others slicing through the clouds with unrelenting precision, their fiery trails a stark warning of Edia's wrath felt in the once serene office of oak bookshelves and polished desks, now transformed with banks of flickering screens and navigation panels, the windows framing a horizon alight with approaching doom. Squall's gunblade rests against the console as he clenches the controls, his hand steady despite the ache still present in his shoulder, manoeuvring the garden's hulking mass with deft precision, its sprawling structure swaying and tilting as turbines roar louder, evading the missiles' deadly arcs. The trio's breaths held in unison as the cockpit trembles under the strain of their desperate gambit, managing to avoid all but 2 of the striking missiles, which luckily hit armour-clad sides of the garden, causing minimal damage. Squall guides the mass hovering across the field, narrowly missing Belem Harbour and its seaside residents, on looking in complete shock and awe as a city-sized vehicle passes them by for a less than elegant entry into the ocean. The off-spray of the splash rocking even the biggest of boats in the harbours to almost capsize, soaking nearby townhouses on the jetty. Once the garden regains its balance and drifts with the current. Sid thanks Squall for his heroism, as reports of the Seed Cadets have maintained order below, with the training beasts, rogue faculty, and its followers being subdued. Headmaster Sid suggests a reset after the worst being behind them. He orders Squall and Co. to rest, whilst he sends engineers to inspect the controls and propulsion systems of the garden's newfound capability. Humming down the corridors from the control deck toward the dormitories for a well-earned recovery, the garden's newfound stability cradles their steps. Zell's fists unclenching as he casts a glance of rugged respect at Squall's unwavering command. Renoa's warmth radiating through a gentle smile that speaks of her deep and growing admiration, both with a quiet gratitude for the young leader's resolve that turned chaos into salvation, while Squall's scarred brow eases as he enters his dorm. He rests his gunblade against the top of his bed frame, his mind drifting as he lays down to Selphie's party at the missile base, a swell of thankfulness rising within him for their daring sabotage that shielded Balaam from Idea's wrath, their unseen triumph a steady anchor in his weary heart. The feeling is fleeting as it turns to worry for their safety, along with the mystery of who is Garden Master Norg, and the impossible to ignore truth that they are at war with the sorceress.